In the bustling heart of Silicon Valley, Emily Thompson worked late into the night, preparing for one of the most crucial meetings of her career. Her startup, Intrigue, had developed a groundbreaking algorithm that could significantly enhance artificial intelligence applications, attracting the attention of several high-profile investors. Emily, known for her sharp intellect and fierce independence, was determined to make a mark without compromising her vision. The morning of the pitch, Emily rehearsed her presentation in the mirror, her reflection steady and confident. Her best friend and business partner, Michael Harris, joined her for a quick breakfast, offering a mix of pep talks and last-minute advice. "You've got this, Em. Just knock 'em dead, and remember, we're not just here for the money. We're here to change the game," Michael said, his encouragement warming Emily's resolve. They arrived at the conference room early, setting up in a spacious, sunlit room atop one of the city's glass skyscrapers. One by one, the investors entered, their expressions a mix of curiosity and scrutiny. But there was one face Emily hadn't expected to see. Alexander Gray, the CEO of Gray Technologies, a titan in the tech industry known for his ruthless business tactics and charismatic allure. As Alexander introduced himself to Emily, his gaze was both appraising and slightly amused, as if he found her determination more intriguing than her technology. Emily felt a mix of irritation and nervous excitement. She had heard stories about Alexander, his successes, his takeovers, and his less savory reputation for pushing out original founders after acquiring their companies. "Miss Thompson, I've heard quite a bit about you and your little venture. I'm eager to see if you live up to your reputation," Alexander remarked, his voice smooth and confident. Emily bristled at the diminutive, but chose to focus on her pitch instead. "Thank you, Mr. Gray. I'm here to talk about the future, which Intrigue is ready to lead. Let's talk specifics," she said, clicking to the first slide of her presentation. As she spoke, outlining the technical aspects and potential applications of her algorithm, she noticed Alexander watching her closely, not just her slides. His interest seemed genuine, which unnerved her further. The other investors nodded along, but it was clear Alexander's presence changed the dynamics in the room. At the end of her presentation, there was a polite round of applause. The Q&A session began, with typical inquiries about scalability, intellectual property rights, and user data security. Emily answered each question with precision, her expertise evident. Just as the session was winding down, Alexander raised his hand, his smile hinting at a challenge. "Miss Thompson, a fascinating presentation indeed. You mentioned your commitment to independence. Yet isn't it true that every startup's end game is acquisition? What if I said I could offer you a partnership that would skyrocket your tech to global markets faster than you could on your own?" His question hung in the air, heavy with implications. Emily felt a surge of adrenaline. This was not just any offer. This was a test of her resolve and the future of Intrigue. "Mr. Gray, while I appreciate your interest, Intrigue isn't seeking a fast track to success at the expense of our vision. We are looking to build something lasting, not just profitable," she responded, her voice steady but her heart racing. Alexander's eyes sparkled with a mix of admiration and challenge. "Very well, Miss Thompson. I respect your ambition. Perhaps we'll find other ways to collaborate in the future." As the meeting adjourned, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that her encounter with Alexander Gray would lead to more than just a business proposition. It was an unexpected meeting that might just pivot her life in a direction she had never anticipated. After the unexpected encounter with Alexander Gray, Emily found herself oscillating between excitement and caution. Michael noticed her distracted demeanor on their way back to their office. "Hey, you've been quiet since the meeting. That guy really got to you, huh?" Michael prodded gently, his concern evident. Emily sighed, glancing out the car window. "I don't know, Michael. It's Alexander Gray. His interest could be a game changer for us, but his reputation, it worries me." Michael nodded, understanding her dilemma. "Well, remember, we make decisions together. Whatever you decide, I'm here." Back at Intrigue, the rest of the day passed in a blur of calls and emails from other interested investors, but Emily's mind kept drifting back to Alexander's proposal. It wasn't just his offer, but the way he had looked at her, as if seeing something beyond the businesswoman in front of him. The next morning, Emily was surprised to find a handwritten note delivered to her office from Alexander. It requested her presence for a private dinner to discuss potential collaborations between Innovatech and Gray Technologies. Despite her reservations, curiosity got the better of her, and she agreed. That evening, at a secluded and elegant restaurant, Alexander greeted Emily with a warm smile that seemed devoid of his usual corporate armor. "Thank you for coming, Emily. I hope this isn't too unconventional," Alexander began, his tone softer than their last encounter. "As long as we're talking business, I don't mind unconventional," Emily replied, maintaining her professional facade. Dinner progressed with discussions on technology and innovation. Alexander shared his vision of integrating AI into everyday life, not just to enhance business operations, but also to address societal challenges. Emily was impressed but cautious, aware of his persuasive charm. As dessert was served, Alexander's expression turned serious. "Emily, I've been straightforward about my interest in Innovatech. However, I don't just want to buy your company. I want you on my team, as a partner." Emily was taken aback. Partnership was not acquisition. It was a commitment to work side by side. This was a different angle and far more tempting. "Why me, Alexander? You have a whole pool of experts to choose from," she questioned, her curiosity piqued. "Because you see things differently, Emily. Your approach, your passion, it's refreshing and exactly what Gray Technologies needs. Think about it, not as an end to your independence, but as a platform to amplify your impact." Emily considered his words. A partnership with Gray Technologies could propel her technology to heights she hadn't dared to dream of yet. But could she trust Alexander Gray? "I'll need to think about it, Alexander. It's not just my decision. It's Innovatech's future," Emily responded thoughtfully. "Of course, take all the time you need. I'm looking forward to hopefully working together," Alexander said with a hopeful smile. As Emily left the restaurant, her mind raced with possibilities. Alexander's proposal was compelling, but it was a gamble. Was it worth risking everything she'd built on a partnership that could either soar to unimaginable success or crash disastrously? Only time would tell, and Emily knew her decision would shape not just her future, but the future of Innovatech. In the days following her dinner with Alexander, Emily wrestled with the decision. The potential for a partnership with Gray Technologies was immense, yet so were the risks. She discussed the proposal at length with Michael, who was cautiously supportive, but equally wary of Alexander's motives. "Just make sure you're not walking into a lion's den, Em," Michael warned, his concern for both their friendship and their business palpable. Emily nodded, appreciating his perspective. "I'll be careful. I promise." As Emily continued to ponder her decision, an unexpected complication arose. Sophia Lane, Alexander's ex-girlfriend and a well-known figure in the tech industry, reached out to Emily under the guise of discussing a potential collaboration. Intrigued and sensing an opportunity to glean more insights into Alexander's business practices, Emily agreed to meet. The two women met at a chic cafe, the air charged with an undercurrent of tension masked by polite smiles. Sophia was impeccably dressed and radiated a cool confidence. "Emily, it's so lovely to meet you. I've heard great things about Innovatech," Sophia began, her voice smooth and controlled. "Thank you, Sophia. I understand you're interested in collaboration." Emily replied, getting straight to the point. Sophia nodded, sipping her coffee. "Indeed, but I must admit, my motives are not entirely selfless. I'm aware of Alexander's interest in your company. I thought you might appreciate some insights from someone who knows him well." Emily's interest was piqued, despite her reservations. "I'm listening," she said cautiously. Sophia leaned forward, her eyes locking with Emily's. "Alexander is brilliant, no doubt, but he's also ruthless. He may talk of partnership, but in my experience, he values control above all. He views relationships, both personal and professional, as assets to be managed." This revelation made Emily uneasy, but she needed to hear more to understand the full picture. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. Sophia's expression softened slightly. "Let's just say I don't like debts left unpaid, and Alexander owes me. I'm not asking you to refuse his offer out of spite, but rather consider it with open eyes. You're a talented woman, Emily. Don't let him overshadow your brilliance." The meeting ended with more questions than answers for Emily. She left feeling conflicted, grateful for the insight but troubled by its implications. As Emily continued to deliberate, the situation grew more complex. Alexander called her several times, eager to hear her decision. His charm was difficult to resist, and his assurances of equality and partnership were persuasive. Yet, Sophia's words echoed in her mind, a warning that refused to be ignored. Emily knew her next steps needed to be measured and wise. She decided to conduct more thorough background checks on Alexander's previous business partnerships, seeking patterns or red flags. This diligence brought her to a critical juncture. With the information she gathered, Emily would soon have to make a choice that could either secure Innovetech's future or entangle it in a web of corporate machinations she might struggle to escape. The promise of what could be was tantalizing, but the shadows of the past loomed large. Armed with a mix of skepticism and curiosity, Emily delved deeper into Alexander's business history. Her research uncovered a pattern of aggressive acquisitions and several partnerships that ended abruptly, often with the original founders leaving under contentious circumstances. This discovery aligned uncomfortably with Sophia's warnings and added a layer of complexity to Emily's decision. Meanwhile, Emily and Michael prepared for an upcoming tech conference where Innovatech would be showcasing their latest developments. It was a crucial event, an opportunity to solidify their reputation and potentially secure additional funding without Alexander's involvement. The conference began vibrantly, with Innovatech drawing significant attention. Emily's presentation was a hit, sparking interest from several venture capitalists and tech enthusiasts. The buzz was palpable, and the prospect of securing independent funding became increasingly realistic. However, the atmosphere shifted when Richard Wells, a rival CEO known for his charming yet cutthroat approach to business, approached Emily with an unexpected proposal. Richard had always been a significant player in the tech field, but his sudden interest in Innovatech felt oddly timed. "Emily, I must say, your technology is the future," Richard began, his smile both engaging and calculating. "I believe we could do great things together. Have you considered all your options?" His words were enticing, yet Emily's recent experiences made her wary. "I appreciate your interest, Richard, but we're exploring several avenues at the moment," she responded diplomatically. As the conference neared its end, Michael came rushing to Emily with alarming news. He had overheard a conversation between Richard and Sophia discussing a plan to destabilize Innovatech and lower its valuation, making it a ripe target for a hostile takeover. Furious and feeling betrayed, Emily confronted Richard at the conference's closing cocktail party. Richard, caught off guard, did not deny the accusations, but shrugged them off as just business tactics. "Business is a game, Emily, and in this game, you play to win," Richard stated coldly. This revelation forced Emily to reevaluate her situation. The threats to her company were real and closer than she had feared. It was a pivotal moment that required a bold response. Determined to protect her company, Emily decided to confront Alexander. She needed to know if he was part of this scheme or if his intentions were indeed genuine as he had professed. Emily arranged a meeting with Alexander, confronting him with what she had learned. To her surprise, Alexander seemed genuinely unaware of Richard's maneuvers. "Emily, I assure you, I have no interest in undermining what you've built. My intentions towards you and Innovatech have always been straightforward," Alexander insisted earnestly. The sincerity in his voice gave Emily pause. She found herself at a crossroads, needing to decide whether to trust Alexander or to continue guarding her independence fiercely. As they spoke further, Alexander proposed a collaborative plan to counter Richard's schemes. It would involve both a strategic partnership and a public alliance, strengthening Innovatech's market position and sending a clear message to any would-be saboteurs. Reluctantly, Emily agreed to consider his proposal more seriously. This unexpected alliance with Alexander could either be a strategic masterstroke or a colossal mistake. But with few options left and the stakes higher than ever, it was a gamble she was increasingly prepared to take. This chapter in Emily's journey marked a critical turn, where alliances formed in the shadows of betrayal and her resolve was tested to its limits. Her decision would not only determine the fate of Innovatech, but also define her legacy in the tech world. With the revelation of Richard's underhanded tactics and her newfound alliance with Alexander, Emily approached the future of Innovatech with a complex blend of determination and caution. The partnership with Alexander, once a source of apprehension, now seemed like a necessary strategy to safeguard her company's integrity and innovative spirit. Together, Emily and Alexander devised a plan to not only stabilize Innovatech's position in the market, but also to innovate beyond the current scope of their technologies. They worked late nights, their meetings filled with intense discussions and creative bursts, drawing them closer both professionally and personally. As they implemented their strategies, Innovatech's stability and market value began to rise. The public alliance with Gray Technologies deterred further predatory attempts by Richard and others, showcasing the strength and potential of a well-matched partnership. Emily found herself respecting and, more surprisingly, liking Alexander more than she had anticipated. Meanwhile, Sophia's attempts to disrupt the partnership waned as she realized the new alliance was stronger and more resilient than she had expected. Her influence diminished, and she slowly retreated from her aggressive stance against Emily and Alexander. At the next major tech expo, Innovatech unveiled a new AI-driven platform, a direct result of the collaborative efforts between Emily and Alexander. The platform was a hit, revolutionizing how AI technology was integrated into public infrastructure projects. The success solidified Innovatech's reputation as a leader in the tech industry. As the expo concluded, the atmosphere was electric with success and possibilities. Alexander took this moment of triumph to pull Emily aside, away from the bustling crowd. Emily, these past months have shown me not only the incredible potential of our partnership, but also something much more personal, Alexander began, his usual confidence tempered with a hint of vulnerability. I've come to value you not just as a partner, but as someone I could imagine spending much more of my life with. Emily, caught off guard by his confession, felt a surge of emotions. Throughout their partnership, she had grown to respect and trust Alexander, feelings that had deepened into something she hadn't quite dared to name. Alexander, Before she could respond, Alexander reached into his jacket, pulling out a small, elegantly designed box. He opened it to reveal a stunning diamond ring. I'm not just proposing a business partnership, Emily. I'm proposing a life partnership. Will you marry me? Alexander asked, his gaze intense with hope and emotion. The question hung in the air, a dramatic cliffhanger not just for their personal lives, but also for the future of their business alliance. Emily looked at Alexander, her mind racing with the implications of her answer, on both her personal happiness and her professional ambitions. As she took a deep breath, her response was about to change everything. This final chapter closes with a significant cliffhanger, leaving readers eagerly anticipating the next installment of Emily and Alexander's journey, both in love and in business. The blend of professional success and personal revelation provides a compelling conclusion to a story of innovation, betrayal, and romance.